Hi there, this is Nancy Ekpezu, and I'm the lead consultant at Pezu Smith Consulting. My organization, Pezu Smith Consulting, works with individuals and other organizations. So we do business to business and also business to individuals. With individuals, we help with coaching skills and mentoring in administration and management. And for organizations, we help you to put your structure together. We help you recruit the right candidates. We make sure they have job descriptions. We help you with a an employee performance management system. And we also come in to train the managers and the administrators. We help you with your policies and your procedures. We work with you to ensure there's proper customer service. And if it's a school, we help with training the leadership team and also the boarding house staff. And by the way, I have a training on Saturday and Sunday this weekend on boarding house administration. And I've just onboarded all those who have registered already and registration closes at 6 p.m. today. So that's a bit about me. If you want to find out more about me, please visit my website www.nancyekpezu.com. My website is intentionally done with my name so that you can easily locate me because people know my name more than they know my company, Pesos Made Consulting. So let's dive in now. I've been doing videos on my learnings from the Global Summit 2023, which I attended recently. I think I've done about two or three videos already, and you might want. And I've also written one or two blog articles. I have a blog on my website. I also have a newsletter on LinkedIn, and in addition, I have an email list. So you might want to check all of those for the details of the previous videos I've done on the Global Leadership Summit. So today I'm looking at another person I learned from at the Global Leadership Summit, and that is Condoleezza Rice. I think she was the 66th Secretary of State of the United States of America. And I personally like this woman. I think because she's a woman of faith, she lives her faith. She's not afraid to declare who she is. And then, in addition, she's stern and straight to the point kind of person with proven integrity. I follow her work, and I think that I'm highly impressed at the things she's done over the years. So, she was interviewed by Dick Devos at the Global Leadership Conference, and the topic was navigating your future. And the interview covered things such as dealing with our past as leaders, leadership lessons from tragedy, what principled leadership is, how to build bridges with the people that you lead, and then have taking a do-over, what to do when you have to take a do-over as a leader, and also tips on handling negotiations and meeting people where they are. So I'll just share a few tips that I jotted down that I've been thinking about. After every conference now, instead of just getting excited, I try to go back to what I have learned so that I have at least key things to implement. And that is a piece of advice I also have for you. It's not enough to jump all over the place and attend various training sessions, especially the ones that do not come with examinations for you to study and make sure that you understand what you're doing. I mean, those conferences, those summits, always make sure that you have actionable points or some take ways that you can actually implement right away. So I'm going to touch on each of these aspects that were discussed during her interview with Dick Devos. All right, so we're dealing with our past. She did mention that we become victims when we give our power away to other people as leaders when we do not deal with our traumas or when we carry our past or hurts and unforgiveness and all of that into a position. And that's a call for us that even though we're leaders, it doesn't mean that we're not human beings. You might be a leader and you're bleeding or hurting from past hurts, maybe from childhood trauma, maybe from abuse, maybe from a divorce or whatever. If you do not deal with those things, they're going to tell on your job. I don't know if you've had a manager or a leader or a boss that just snaps at everybody, growls and everybody's scared to go to them. They might actually be dealing with trauma and we might not know it, and we just think, oh, my boss is just difficult. So I think that to be an effective leader, one of the things you need to do is to deal with your past. If you need to get a therapist or a counselor, a coach to work with you on overcoming these hurts and your trauma, that would be a splendid thing to do. I have had to work with a therapist recently because of an experience I had some years ago, and it's nothing to be ashamed about, nothing at all. If you've had something that hurt you deeply, something that almost brought your life to a stall, maybe a divorce, maybe a miscarriage, maybe an abusive child, an alcoholic parent. I'm not saying I had any of this, but everybody has issues that they're dealing with, and that so long you're human, you must have had something. It could be bullying at school that you didn't get over. It could be anything. So deal with them before you get to the public glare, before you get to the eyes of the public, because a lot of the things that make people misbehave in public, when they get to the public positions, are usually things from their past. And so if you have not dealt with hurt, if you have not dealt with unforgiveness, with bitterness and resentment and all of those, this is a call for you to deal with that if you have plans for the top. Because at the top, your flaws and your negative parts get kind of in everybody's eyes, and it's like, oh, is that who really she is, or is that who really he is? So deal with your past. She says that don't be a prisoner of the past as a leader. There are no victims in life. You can decide to be a victim or not to be a victim. So I decide not to be a victim. So when you give yourself, when you decide that you're a victim or have a victim mentality, you give control and power to someone else. Some managers have actually given power even to their subordinates. Maybe they hurt them and they're there caged, struggling with unforgiveness or a whole lot of stuff. Okay, you give the power to someone else. So own your past as it has shaped you, but do not become a prisoner of it. We are all products of nurturing. We are all products of our environment. We are all products of the experiences and the level of exposure that we have had, and the ones that were negative are things that we need to deal with, and then we need to reinforce the ones that are positive. So do not become a prisoner of your past. I totally agree with Condoleezza Rice on this particular one. Okay, and then the next one was on leadership lessons from tragedy. From tragedy, she says, do not have a victim mentality still when there's tragedy. She referred to the 911 event and how it was handled when her team was in power, and all of the things that they did, the ones they could control and the ones they could not. They had to deal with the ones they could control, and the ones that they could not, they still try to find a way around how to make peace with those, which was quite helpful to me. So during a tragedy, instead of just panicking and getting helpless, look at what you can do. What can you do about it? Differentiate the ones you can do and the ones you cannot do anything about. Do something about the ones that you can do something about, and leave the rest that you cannot while you work out ways around them. Then she also shared something on principled leadership. And what stayed with me there is that she said integrity is the bedrock of leadership. I've always believed that integrity is very important in leadership. And those who have worked with me will all have testified about the level of integrity that I've brought to the positions where I've had the privilege to be a leader, an administrator, or a manager, whatever title it is that you choose to call it. So she mentioned something that was quite interesting too. She said, avoid gossiping as a leader. Do not build your team on gossip. It tears teams apart. And sooner or later, people on your team will know that their leader is gossiping about them or entertaining gossips. And the grapevine then takes over. So in my administration, one of the things people know is that I do not entertain gossip in my office. If you bring in someone to report, I'll tell you, are you reporting because you want us to do something about it? or are you reporting because you just want to report the person? If it's a genuine report, and I'm not against reports because they help to make the organization better if they are well intentioned. But the ones with ill intentions would usually be to tear down someone else without necessarily having a motive for improving whatever it is that they're coming to complain to you about. So, as a leader, learn to differentiate between when people are just coming to gossip to you, sometimes so that they can have an inroad to suck up to you and mess somebody else. That brings toxicity on a team. And I can tell you from experience that I've had the poor experience of working with a manager like that who preferred some people over others because they were gossiping and all of that. So avoid gossip on your team as a leader, as a manager, as an administrator, whatever title it is that you have. Okay, so on building bridges, she says, know the people on your team well enough to care for them, and know your organization well enough to also provide solutions because you were hired or appointed, in her case, to solve problems at that level. So make sure that you know what it is that you're coming to do. Make sure that you also know the people, understand them and what their needs are, and an effort to build a relationship with them while also building the boundaries. Okay. Then she also talked about taking a do-over. Okay. She says it helps to know where people are before you decide, you let them know where you're taking them to. And that's something about, nobody really taught me that, but it was so good to hear such a highly placed leader put this in words, in a way that I couldn't. I'd always said it. And I remember even a few days ago, I was sharing with someone who said, oh, they needed to do this in her organization. And I said, well, I have to come and do an audit first to know where these people are, what their skills are, and where your organization is at before I can profile solutions to the issues that you have raised. Because it's so easy to just be in-house and be thinking, oh, these are the issues. An external eye might come and see that that's not exactly what it is, and that you need a solution in a particular area that you didn't even think was there. Okay, so it helps to know where people are before you tell them where you are leading them. So that is a caution to those eager leaders who come with a lot of energy and just start pushing people to achieve goals. You first need to know these people. If you've taken on a new job, for example, I'm adding this now, that was my own interpretation of it. If you're taking on a new job, it's a great thing to know where the people that you'll be leading are. Where are they? Where are they? And what are our goals? What are our aspirations? What is the strategic plan as an organization? Where are we going? What's our vision? But this is where we are. What's the gap? So that you know where you're leading them to, and not just lead aimlessly. So start with where they are, and that means you have to know where they are, and then lead them to where the organization desires that they be. On handling negotiations, she has this to say. She says, be the one to talk last. Always learn to listen first during negotiations and find areas of interest. Okay, sometimes in negotiations we think win-win. We think win-lose, that we should win and the next person we are negotiating with should lose. And people come to negotiations usually with this, I'm going to show them this is what we want. This and the other people are saying the same thing. So sometimes you end up not coming to a compromise about what you both need or agreeing on anything. But how about if you listen attentively to what the other person is saying, and then realize that, oh, okay, what you're saying is kind of similar to mine. Let me pick the areas of interest and the areas that are similar with what we need to, so that we can at least start from there, and then we can look at the other areas where we disagree. I think that's a very strategic and nice way to go. Like, did I say nice? A more skilled way to go about negotiation. So learn to listen first during negotiations and find areas of interest and interest that overlap, so that you're not constantly arguing this is what we want, this not. And sometimes in negotiations, why there's chaos or a lot of conflicts is that we do not even listen to the next person. We are always in a hurry to say what it is we want. Everybody's going there saying, this is what I want, this is what I want, this is what my team wants against them. But how about if you have a win-win, at least in a lot of areas, okay? I hope that helps. Okay, and then of course there was something about meeting people where they are. I want to emphasize that now. She talked about the importance of meeting people where they are. And she talked about the life of the mind and of the spirit. And she says, every leader has a mind, and God has given us a mind, and we should use it extensively. We should never be afraid to apply our minds. And I want to add here that the level that your mind develops to will be a function of the exposure that you give it. And that would, of course, depend on the kind of books you're reading, the kind of people you're surrounding yourself with, your intentionality at personal and professional development. So, using your mind extensively will come in very handy when you're constantly developing your mind. If you have a rusty mind as a leader, it's going to show in your decision making. And I think that's why some bosses get so intimidated when their subordinates make a really amazing contribution and suggestions and recommendations. They see that these people are developing themselves. I need to do everything to put them down so that my employers will not notice. And that's totally unnecessary. So develop your mind and have a clean spirit. In that mind, I would say that for me, leadership also involves some level of intuition. So when you've developed your mind and your spirit to a certain level, sometimes you can pick things here and there. I recall an incident on one of my school administration jobs. I was in my office and I just heard in my spirit, get up and moved to the hostel now. You would not believe it that there was actually a problem. I think they had the fumigant they had used in fumigating the hostel was faulty. Maybe I don't know if it expires or maybe they used the wrong one. But they had just fumigated the hostel, so I didn't know why a snake should be coming in. But I just sensed in my spirit, get up, go to the hostel now, and I was busy on my laptop doing something. I got in there and there was a snake coming in right at that point. And you would not believe it. I had trained the boarding house staff to always lock the doors when the kids have gone out to school from the boarding house. But this time around, one or two doors were open. The cleaners had come in to clean and they were just this thing and left two doors. I was mad. But anyway, just as I was coming, and I said, "Whoa, that's a snake!" And as soon as I said that, one of the staff came out quickly and they rallied around and saw how to get rid of it. But if I hadn't come at that time, I'm talking about being intuitive now as a leader. If I hadn't come at that time, something drastic may have happened because the snake might have gone right into the hostel. Who knows? And who knows? Maybe he would have gone to hide in the wardrobe or the children's belongings, and who knows what would have happened. I dread to think of it. But I think intuitiveness, especially when you're connected to the vision and the team that you lead, there's some kind of level of intuition that comes and you can pick things sometimes. I don't know a better way to put it, but I think it's just intuition. Yeah, I think it's intuition and developing your spirit, man. Some part of leadership is spiritual if we're going to admit it. Okay, so and she also says use your mind to ask questions and ask a lot. And that brings me to one skill that managers should have, which is coaching skills. And in coaching, we ask a lot of questions. We get to ask questions. We get to ask what you're doing, where you're going, what makes you do this, and a whole lot, things that get people to think inwards. But she also brought out another dimension of it that we should not be afraid to ask God. She's a woman of faith, remember? And I am too. So that resonated with me. I hope that you've been able to get some things from this session. And if you have, share in the comment what it is that you have learned. And if you are not yet subscribed to my YouTube channel, please do that right away. I make the time to share all these free videos with you. You know you've never paid for any of my videos. and I don't intend to have paid videos in a long time. So how you can reciprocate is by subscribing to my channel, making comments, liking my videos, and sharing to as many people as you can so that I grow the channel. Thank you so much for watching this video. Until I come your way again, remember to keep it positive, remember to be authentic, and remember that you can be an authentic leader. You do not have to fake it. Thank you so much, and see you in the next video. Ciao.